Imagine going through your entire life believing that every single setback, every challenge, was actually setting you up for something greater. Now, I know that might sound like just another inspirational quote you scroll past on your feed, but here's the uncomfortable truth most people never face. You're not failing because life is unfair. You're failing because you've been taught to run from the very things that could make you unstoppable. The pain you avoid, the criticism you hate, the moments that tear at your pride. These are the exact fires the Stoics stepped into willingly, knowing that only what burns away the weak parts of you can reveal the strength beneath. So ask yourself, how much of your life have you spent avoiding the weight that would have made you unbreakable? Stay here, because what we're about to explore will challenge the way you see every obstacle, every loss, and every so-called failure. And if you're ready to live with purpose instead of excuses, please subscribe as your own commitment to growth, to meaning, and to becoming the person you were meant to be. 1. Pursue constant improvement. You know that quiet feeling you get at the end of the day when you look back and think, I could have done more? It's not regret exactly, but a sense that you left something on the table. Most of us feel it, whether it's about our health, our work, our relationships, or even the way we spend our free time. We scroll, we watch, we wait, and then we tell ourselves tomorrow will be different. The truth is, tomorrow rarely changes unless we change. And that's where the Stoics had a timeless insight. They had a word for the type of person who lives every day trying to be just a little better than the day before. Prokopton. It doesn't mean perfectionist. It doesn't mean overachiever. It means a work in progress, a human who accepts they're not finished yet and never will be. Marcus Aurelius, who had every excuse to feel like he'd arrived, wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's not a suggestion to leap to greatness overnight. It's a reminder to start walking toward it, step by step, today. The pursuit of constant improvement isn't about chasing some far-off finish line. It's about creating a habit of showing up for yourself daily. Too many people believe change comes in a single dramatic burst. A new job, a breakthrough moment, a sudden flash of motivation. But that's a myth that keeps you stuck. Real change is slow, quiet, and almost invisible in the moment. You don't notice the one extra push-up today, but do it every day for a month, and your body feels different. You don't feel smarter after reading 2 pages tonight, but stack those nights together, and you'll think differently, speak differently, decide differently. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That means your future isn't built by what you do once, it's built by what you do constantly. The Stoics would say your job isn't to wake up tomorrow and be transformed, it's to wake up tomorrow and improve on something, anything, even by 1%. This way of living is powerful because it's honest. It doesn't rely on unrealistic bursts of motivation. It leans on discipline, small wins, and the humility to accept that you're not above learning. Seneca put it plainly, while we teach, we learn. Every day you push to grow, you also discover more about who you are, where you're strong, and where you're still fragile. That's the point. This isn't about being obsessed with flaws. It's about being obsessed with possibilities. And here's something important. Pursuing constant improvement isn't only about adding things. It's also about removing what holds you back. Think about a sculptor. They don't create a masterpiece by piling more clay on. They remove the excess until the form is revealed. Your habits work the same way. Improving your health might not start with a new workout. It might start with cutting the daily soda. Becoming mentally sharper might begin with turning off notifications for an hour each evening. Carl Jung said, Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Sometimes the act of improvement is just becoming aware of the unconscious habits that quietly sabotage your progress. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they need to overhaul their entire life at once. The Stoics would tell you to start small, start where you are. If you can't meditate for 20 minutes, try 1 minute. If you can't run 5 miles, walk 1. The size of the action doesn't matter as much as its consistency. Epictetus, who began life as a slave and became one of the most influential Stoic teachers, said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That's not an excuse to delay. It's an invitation to begin. It's the discipline of daily progress that matters, because those small, repeatable actions become your character. Now, improvement is addictive, but only if you track it. The human brain is wired to seek progress, but it also needs proof. That's why Stoics practiced daily reflection. At the end of the day, they'd ask themselves, what did I do well? What did I do poorly? How can I do better tomorrow? This simple self-audit turns your days into data, showing you patterns, revealing weak spots, and making improvement measurable. And here's the magic. Once you see growth, even small growth, you want more. Progress becomes its own reward. It fuels you on days when motivation is low because you don't want to break the chain. The pursuit of constant improvement also demands self-compassion. You will slip. You will have days where nothing works, where you skip the workout, eat the junk, snap at someone you care about, or waste hours on things that don't matter. The Stoics didn't pretend failure didn't exist. They embraced it as part of the process. To live as a Procopton is to accept that your life will always be under construction. It's to see yourself not as a fixed identity, but as a project you're shaping daily. It's to wake up each morning and ask, how can I be a little wiser, a little kinder, a little stronger than I was yesterday? And it's to do that not because you hate where you are, but because you respect who you could become. As the Stoics remind us, the measure of a life well lived isn't the number of achievements. It's the depth of your character and the courage you showed in building it. If you truly want to live this way, start now. Pick one small thing, not 10, not everything, just one. Do it today, again tomorrow, and the next day after that. Write it down. Watch the progress build. Over time, you'll look back and realize you're not the same person, and the best part is you won't want to be, because you'll be too busy becoming someone even better. 2. Stay on your path. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from working too hard, but from chasing too many things that don't matter. You know the feeling. You start your day with one clear goal, but by the time you go to bed, you've been pulled in 10 different directions. An email here, a notification there, someone else's opinion slipping into your mind until you forget what you were even trying to do in the first place. This is the trap most people live in without realizing it. They're walking through life without a map, letting the world decide where they end up. The Stoics warned against this centuries ago. They knew that if you don't know where you're going, every road will look tempting and every distraction will feel urgent. Seneca wrote, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." It's not the speed of your life that matters, it's the direction. And if you haven't chosen yours, the currents will choose for you. Staying on your path begins with knowing what that path is. The Stoics often spoke about living in accordance with nature, not just nature as in trees and rivers, but the nature of your own soul. What are you here for? What kind of person do you want to become? These aren't vague philosophical questions. They're the compass you need to navigate a noisy, chaotic world. Without that compass, you drift. You wake up years later and realize you've built a life around other people's expectations, not your own values. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But you can't become that person if you're constantly pulled into roles that don't fit you, relationships that drain you, and goals that mean nothing to you. Once you know your direction, your North Star, as modern Stoics like to call it, you need to guard it fiercely. Life will test your commitment. It will throw you quick money schemes that promise the world. It will tempt you with trends that look exciting but lead nowhere. It will hand you drama disguised as importance. The Stoics didn't say to avoid the world, they said to live in it without being ruled by it. Marcus Aurelius, who had the weight of an empire on his shoulders, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your path is not just about the goals you write down. It's about the mental discipline to ignore the noise and keep moving forward when everyone else is being tossed around by the latest distraction. But staying on your path isn't about being stubborn or inflexible. Life changes. The Stoics knew that a rigid tree snaps in a storm, but a rooted tree that bends survives. Sometimes your path needs adjusting. Maybe your original plan doesn't fit the reality you're living in. Maybe new experiences have reshaped your values. The important part is that when you adjust, you're doing it from a place of alignment, not reaction. Epictetus advised, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That means your adjustments are intentional, based on who you want to become, not just the mood of the moment or the pressure of the crowd. One of the most effective tools for staying on your path is reflection. The Stoics practiced this every day. They would review their actions each night and ask themselves, "Did I live according to my values? Did I let anger, greed, or fear push me off course? Did I take steps toward the life I want, or did I let myself drift?" You can do the same. Write down your values, review them often, ask yourself whether your actions are aligned with them. This isn't just about big life decisions, it's about the small daily choices that quietly shape who you are becoming. Choosing to have a hard conversation instead of avoiding it. Choosing to work on your craft instead of scrolling for hours. Choosing to say no when everyone expects you to say yes. The challenge is that distractions don't usually feel like distractions. They feel like opportunities. They feel urgent. They feel exciting. This is why so many people lose years chasing things that take them further from their real goals. Stoic wisdom can protect you from this. The next time you face a decision, whether it's taking on a project, saying yes to an event, or changing your plans, pause and ask, does this get me closer to the person I want to become, or does it pull me away? It's a simple question, but it's powerful. And if you answer honestly, it will save you from spending your energy on things that don't serve you. The truth is, staying on your path can be lonely. When you choose focus over distraction, you'll stand out. People might question you. They might say you're missing out. They might think you're being too serious, too disciplined, too selective. But remember what Marcus Aurelius said. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You don't owe your energy to every opportunity that knocks. You don't owe your time to every person who demands it. You owe it to your purpose, to the life you're building. And here's something the Stoics understood deeply. Your path isn't just for you. When you live with focus, discipline, and integrity, you become an example for others. You show them it's possible to live intentionally in a chaotic world. You give them permission to set their own boundaries, to define their own goals, to protect their own focus. Carl Jung warned, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you." Staying on your path is knowing your answer before the world tries to give you one. Still, this isn't about perfection. You will drift at times, you will get distracted, you will take detours you later regret. The Stoics didn't see this as failure. They saw it as part of the journey. What matters is that you notice when you've wandered and you return to your path as soon as you can. It's like walking through a forest. You might step off the trail, but you can always find your way back if you know where you're heading. This is why having your goals and values written down is so important. They're the map you can return to when you feel lost. In the end, staying on your path is about living with intention in a world that rewards distraction. It's about making choices based on your deepest values, not your passing moods. It's about having the courage to walk away from things that glitter but don't grow you. And it's about remembering that every step you take, forward or backward, shapes the person you're becoming. The Stoics knew that a life without direction is a life wasted. They chose their path and walked it with purpose. And you can do the same. So decide today, what's your North Star? What are the non-negotiables in your life? What will you say yes to? And what will you have the strength to say no to? Write them down. Keep them close. And the next time the world tries to pull you into its chaos, remember, you've got somewhere important to be. Keep walking toward it. Third, let go of outcomes. There's a certain kind of anxiety that creeps in when you've done everything you possibly could, but the results are still uncertain. You study for weeks, and the exam could still go wrong. You pour your heart into a relationship, and it might still end. You give your best performance at work, and the promotion might still go to someone else. This is one of life's most frustrating truths. Effort doesn't guarantee the reward you think it will. And yet, the Stoics would tell you this isn't a reason to give up. It's a reason to change what you measure. They believed the only true failure is abandoning your own principles. The need for control is a deeply human instinct. We want to believe that if we do all the right things, life will reward us exactly as we imagine. But life isn't a vending machine. You can't just insert effort and get a guaranteed outcome. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They taught that the world is full of variables you will never influence: luck, timing, the choices of others, even nature itself. Trying to control those variables is like trying to stop the tide with your hands. It will only exhaust you. Epictetus put it bluntly: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. This isn't passivity, it's strategy. It frees your mind from the impossible task of controlling the uncontrollable so you can focus on what you can actually change. When you let go of outcomes, something powerful happens. You start to live more fully in the present. Instead of obsessing about whether your actions will pay off, you find satisfaction in doing them well for their own sake. You go to the gym because you value health, not because you're chasing a certain number on the scale. You work hard because excellence matters to you, not because you're guaranteed recognition. You love because loving is part of the person you want to be, not because it ensures someone will love you back. It's easy to misunderstand this mindset. Letting go of outcomes doesn't mean you stop caring or stop setting goals. The Stoics weren't suggesting you drift through life aimlessly. They were saying, set your aim high, give your best shot, but understand the target is partly out of your hands. You don't lower your standards, you shift your focus. You judge yourself by your effort, your discipline, and your integrity, not by how the world reacts. Seneca said it best: the wise man regards the reason for all his actions, not their results. That's the core. Why you act is more important than how things turn out. One way to practice this is to separate the process from the prize. Imagine you're planting a tree. You can prepare the soil, water it, protect it from pests, but you can't force it to grow faster. Your part is the care, not the harvest. The Stoics saw life the same way. You do your part with excellence and let nature take its course. This is harder than it sounds because our culture constantly measures us by results, numbers, rankings, awards, applause. It takes mental discipline to remember that these are not the truest signs of success. The truest sign is knowing you stayed true to your values, even when the outcome didn't match your expectations. And here's something else. Letting go of outcomes can actually make you better at what you do. When you're obsessed with the result, you tighten up, you hesitate, you play it safe. But when you focus on the process, you work with more creativity and courage. Think about athletes who perform their best when they forget the scoreboard and just play the game. The Stoics understood this long before sports psychology existed. By releasing the need to win in a specific way, you give yourself permission to engage fully with the task at hand. Paradoxically, this often leads to better results anyway. But even if it doesn't, you still win in the ways that matter. Of course, none of this means disappointment won't sting. You can pour your soul into something and still feel crushed if it doesn't work out. The Stoics didn't deny that pain, they faced it. Marcus Aurelius admitted in his writings that setbacks hurt, but he also reminded himself that pain is temporary and perspective is permanent. Letting go of outcomes also frees you from the endless comparison trap. When you measure success by results alone, you're always looking sideways. Who's ahead? Who's behind? Who's doing better? But when you measure by effort and alignment with your values, you only look inward. Are you better than you were last month? Did you act in line with your principles today? Did you give what you had to give? This is the kind of progress that can't be taken away from you. In a strange way, letting go of outcomes also makes life more adventurous. When you're not fixated on how things should turn out, you're more willing to try, to risk, to explore. Failure becomes information, not a verdict on your worth. You stop needing every step to lead exactly where you planned and start seeing detours as part of the map. The Stoics would call this living in harmony with nature, trusting that the river of life will carry you where you need to go if you keep rowing with skill and intention. The modern world makes this especially challenging because everything is about instant feedback. We post something online and check for likes within minutes. We start a project and expect results immediately. But Stoic wisdom is the antidote to this impatience. It reminds you that the timeline isn't yours to control. Your responsibility is to act with excellence now, without demanding that reality bend to your schedule. That's not resignation, it's mastery. It means you're no longer a hostage to things you can't command. This mindset also deepens your resilience. If your happiness depends on things going exactly your way, life will break you over and over. But if your peace of mind depends on whether you acted well, nothing can take it from you. Carl Jung observed, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Outcomes belong to the world. Effort belongs to you. That's where your identity and your strength live. So how do you actually live this? Start small. Pick one thing you care about, your health, your work, your relationships, and commit to giving your best without obsessing over the payoff. Practice catching yourself when your mind jumps ahead to results you can't control. Gently bring your focus back to what you're doing right now. Celebrate the days you acted with courage and consistency, even if nothing big happened. Over time, you'll notice something remarkable. You'll feel lighter. You'll stop riding the emotional roller coaster of highs and lows based on circumstances you don't control. You'll find a steadiness that's rare in this world. The Stoics didn't promise that letting go of outcomes would make life easier. They promised it would make you stronger. And strength, in their view, was the ultimate reward. So work hard, care deeply, Aim high, but when the moment comes to release the results, let them go with grace, because the real victory isn't in what you get, it's in who you become while giving your best. 4. You attract what you embody. Have you ever noticed how two people can walk into the exact same situation and come away with completely different experiences? One leaves frustrated, convinced the world is full of selfish people. The other leaves inspired, grateful for the kindness they saw. The difference isn't always the world, it's the lens they carry into it. The truth is, we don't see life as it is, we see it as we are. If you walk into life expecting conflict, you'll spot every insult and overlook every kindness. If you walk in looking for growth, you'll find lessons even in hardship. The Stoics understood this dynamic long before modern psychology gave it a name. They believed that the character you cultivate becomes the filter for every experience you have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Imagine your thoughts as the dye in the water of your mind. Everything you experience gets tinted by it. If your mind is filled with envy, anger, or fear, even neutral events will feel threatening or unfair. But if you've trained yourself to cultivate virtues, patience, courage, compassion, you'll see the same world through a lens that helps you grow rather than shrink. This is why Stoic philosophy places so much emphasis on self-mastery. They weren't telling you to change the whole world, they were telling you to change the way you show up in it. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That reaction doesn't just affect the moment, it attracts more of the same into your life. If you respond to challenges with bitterness, you'll attract more people and situations that feed that bitterness. If you respond with calm and integrity, you'll draw people and opportunities aligned with that energy. Think about the people you're naturally drawn to. Chances are they radiate something you value: confidence, kindness, stability, enthusiasm. They might not be perfect, but there's something about the way they carry themselves that makes you feel safe, inspired, or energized. That's no accident. People pick up on subtle cues all the time: tone of voice, body language, the way you listen or don't listen. You're giving off signals constantly, whether you realize it or not. And those signals set the tone for the relationships, opportunities, and challenges that show up in your life. The tricky part is that what you attract isn't always what you want. It's what you are. You can say you want deep, honest relationships, but if you gossip and break confidences, you'll attract others who do the same. You can say you want financial stability, but if you live recklessly with money, you'll draw chaos into your finances. The Stoics wouldn't tell you to manifest a better life through wishful thinking. They tell you to embody the qualities of the life you want and let reality respond in its own time. Seneca reminded us, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Embody gratitude, and you'll see wealth in what you already have. This is where self-awareness becomes critical. The Stoics practiced daily reflection, not just to review their actions, but to examine their state of mind. At the end of the day, they would ask, "What did I think about today? What emotions drove my decisions? Did I embody the virtues I value, or did I fall into habits I want to break?" This wasn't about judgment, it was about alignment. If you don't check in with yourself, you risk living on autopilot, carrying traits you'd never consciously choose, but that silently shape your reality. Carl Jung also pointed to something the Stoics would have agreed with. The shadow self, the parts of you that you reject or ignore, has a way of leaking into your behavior. If you haven't faced your own anger, you'll keep attracting situations that provoke it. If you bury your insecurity, you'll keep meeting people who trigger it. This is why embodying what you want to attract isn't just about putting on a mask of positivity. It's about doing the inner work to align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the values you truly respect. Another Stoic insight is that embodying certain qualities doesn't just change what you attract, it changes what you notice. Imagine walking into a crowded room looking for a friend. You filter out all the faces you don't know, focusing only on the one you're there to find. In the same way, when you embody patience, you notice moments to practice it. When you embody gratitude, you notice blessings you used to overlook. This is why some people seem lucky. They're tuned to see and act on opportunities that others miss because they're distracted by negativity or fear. But here's the hard truth. Changing what you embody is not easy. It's uncomfortable. It means taking responsibility for the patterns in your life instead of blaming bad luck, other people, or the universe. The Stoics believed this responsibility was the highest form of freedom. This doesn't mean you can control everything that comes your way. You will still meet rude people. You will still face setbacks. But when you've embodied resilience, those setbacks don't break you, they build you. When you've embodied self-respect, you don't entertain relationships that drain you. When you've embodied discipline, temptations lose their grip. The quality of your inner world becomes a shield against the chaos of the outer world. One of the most practical ways to shift what you embody is to focus on one core virtue at a time. The Stoics often spoke of 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Choose one and practice it deliberately for a week. Ask yourself each morning, how can I live this virtue today? At night, reflect on how you did. Over time, these qualities stop being things you practice and start being who you are. And when that happens, your life begins to shift in ways that feel natural instead of forced. The reality is, you're already attracting things into your life right now. People, opportunities, challenges, all shaped by the person you've been up until this moment. If you want different results, you don't just change your goals, you change your presence. You don't just wish for a better circle of friends, you become the kind of friend worth having. You don't just hope for a better career, you carry yourself like someone ready for more responsibility. The Stoics lived by the idea that virtue is its own reward, but they also knew it has ripple effects. When you embody integrity, you earn trust. When you embody patience, you create peace. When you embody courage, you inspire others to be brave. And those ripples come back to you, often in ways you couldn't predict. So take a moment today to do that quick check-in. What energy are you giving off? What are you embodying in your words, your habits, your choices? Because the world is noticing, whether you realize it or not. And more importantly, you're shaping the very life you walk into tomorrow. The Stoics would tell you that's not magic. It's simply cause and effect. Who you are determines what your life becomes. 5. Embrace challenges. There's a moment in every challenge, right at the beginning, where your instincts scream to push it away. A moment where frustration, fear, or even panic rises up before you've had time to think. Maybe it's the unexpected phone call that changes your plans, the project at work that suddenly doubles in scope, or that painful personal loss you didn't see coming. In that first wave, it's natural to think, why me? Why now? But the truth is, life has never promised to be smooth. It has only promised to be unpredictable. The Stoics didn't just accept this, they expected it. And because they expected it, they prepared for it. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself in Meditations, reminded his own mind every morning, "You will meet with meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly people." He didn't write that to be cynical. He wrote it to be ready. If you know the waves are coming, You learn to surf instead of drown. This shift in thinking, seeing challenges not as intrusions but as part of the path, changes everything. Epictetus told his students, "Difficulties show what men are." He meant that comfort hides our real character, but adversity reveals it. Anyone can seem calm, patient and wise when the weather is perfect. But who are you when the storm hits? That's the question that shapes your destiny. The Stoics saw each obstacle as a kind of training ground, an opportunity to strengthen the very qualities that matter most: patience, resilience, courage, self-control. A flat tire in the rain is annoying, yes, but it's also a moment to practice composure under pressure. A huge, unexpected bill is stressful, but it's also a test in resourcefulness and self-discipline. Every inconvenience is a lesson disguised as a problem. Carl Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." The same can be said for the meeting between you and a challenge. When you encounter something difficult, you are either shaped by it or you shape yourself in response to it. In that exchange, transformation is inevitable. The question is whether the transformation makes you smaller or stronger. The Stoics believed the choice was yours, not in whether challenges arrive, but in how you respond to them. The world often sells us a vision of success as a smooth, uninterrupted climb. Social media especially loves to showcase the polished results: perfect homes, thriving careers, joyful relationships, without showing the messy process underneath. But the Stoics would tell you that the smooth path is an illusion. The road to anything meaningful is paved with struggle, uncertainty, and setbacks. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. That friction you feel when life resists you, that's the polishing. Without it, you stay dull, untested, and fragile. When you start to embrace challenges, you stop wasting energy wishing they weren't there. Instead, you channel that energy into adapting. You begin to see every difficulty as a question. What is this moment trying to teach me? What strength does it require that I have yet to build?" That's not denial. It's a conscious choice to engage with life as it is, instead of only as you wish it to be. And in doing so, you stop feeling like a victim of your circumstances and start feeling like a participant in your own growth. Of course, this perspective doesn't come automatically. Your first reaction to hardship will almost always be emotional. The Stoics didn't ask you to suppress that. They asked you to notice it, pause, and then choose your next move with intention. That pause between reaction and action is where Stoic power lives. In that space you can decide, will I let this event harden me in bitterness, or will I let it harden me in strength? Let's be honest, some challenges don't feel like lessons at all when you're in them. Illness, betrayal, financial ruin, these can break your spirit if you face them alone or without a guiding philosophy. The Stoics didn't deny the pain in these moments. They simply refused to let the pain be meaningless. They looked for the thread of growth hidden inside the suffering. If your body is weakened, perhaps it's time to strengthen your patience and acceptance. If you're betrayed, perhaps it's a call to refine your ability to discern trustworthiness. If you lose something you thought you couldn't live without, perhaps it's a chance to discover how much you actually can. Jung also observed that no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. What he meant is that your capacity for greatness is matched by your capacity to endure difficulty. You cannot rise higher without also going deeper, and often the descent into hardship is what makes the climb possible. The Stoics saw this clearly. They didn't just prepare for difficulty. They valued it as the very thing that made life worth living. A life without challenges, in their eyes, was a life without growth. One practical way to embrace challenges the Stoic way is to rehearse them in your mind before they arrive. Seneca called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. You imagine the loss, the delay, the failure before it happens, not to make yourself anxious, but to make yourself ready. That way, when the obstacle appears, you greet it as an expected guest rather than an intruder. This practice turns fear into familiarity. You may not control the challenge, but you control how prepared you feel when it comes. Another way is to deliberately put yourself in situations that stretch you, even when you don't have to. The Stoics would sometimes sleep on hard floors, wear simple clothes, or eat plain meals. Not because they couldn't afford better, but because they wanted to train themselves for discomfort. Modern life gives us endless chances to do the same. Take the harder route to build resilience. Choose the conversation that scares you to build courage. Volunteer for the project that feels just beyond your skills to build competence. If you can make challenge a choice, you'll fear it less when it arrives uninvited. The irony is that the more you embrace challenges, the more they begin to feel like allies. They strip away the unnecessary, reveal what you're made of, and sharpen the edges you didn't know you had. Over time, you start to welcome them, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you trust yourself to handle it. This trust becomes a kind of freedom. The person who fears no challenge is the person who can move through life without being controlled by it. Marcus Aurelius, facing constant political and military crises, still found a strange gratitude for the obstacles in his life. In his writings, he reflects on how each one shaped him into the ruler and man he needed to be. That's the quiet truth the Stoics knew. Life's hardships aren't detours from the path. They are the path. Without them, the journey is shallow, and so are we. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of something hard, before you ask, "Why me?" try asking, "Why not me?" What better chance to practice the very strengths you admire in others? What better time to prove to yourself that you can adapt, endure, and emerge stronger? That's the Stoic way, not to run from the challenge, but to meet it with open eyes and steady hands, knowing it's shaping you into someone you might never have become without it. Because in the end, the challenges you embrace don't just make you better at surviving, they make you better at living. 6. Small steps, big impact. There's a certain paralysis that comes when you think too far ahead. You see the mountain in front of you and convince yourself you could never climb it, so you don't even take the first step. It's the book you dream of writing, but never start because you can't imagine finishing 300 pages. It's the fitness goal you abandon before day one because the finish line feels too far away. It's the debt you want to pay off, but ignore because the numbers seem impossible. This is one of the most common traps in life, thinking so big that you make yourself too small to begin. The Stoics saw this clearly. They understood that overwhelming goals are conquered not in leaps, but in steady, deliberate steps. The Stoics didn't chase perfection, they chased consistency. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Don't waste the rest of your time here worrying about other people unless it affects the common good. It will keep you from doing anything useful." In other words, keep your mind on the work you can do now, not the endless distractions that steal it from you. If your goal is to write a book, the page you write today is the only page you can actually control. If you want to run a marathon, the run you do this morning is the only one that counts right now. You can't complete the whole journey in one move, but you can move forward in this moment. Small steps work because they shrink the goal until it's less intimidating. Carl Jung once said, "Nothing happens until something moves." That something doesn't have to be massive, it just has to be enough to break the inertia. When you take a small, intentional action, you create momentum. Momentum is addictive. It builds confidence. And confidence is what turns impossible into inevitable over time. This is why the Stoics valued effort over results. The outcome may be months or years away, but the effort you put in today is here and now, and it's yours to own. There's another reason small steps are powerful. They build habits. Habits are the silent architects of your life. You don't notice their work in a week, but over years they shape your health, your relationships, your mindset, and even your financial situation. The Stoics would tell you that excellence is not a single act. It's the repetition of the right acts. Epictetus put it simply, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You decide on the kind of person you want to become, then you back it up with daily proof, small choices repeated until they form a pattern you can trust. The modern world sells quick wins and overnight transformations, but the Stoics would see through this illusion instantly. They knew that anything built quickly can fall apart just as fast. They would rather see you take a small, solid step every day than make one dramatic move you can't sustain. If you want to master a skill, give it 15 focused minutes a day instead of waiting for the perfect weekend to dive in for hours. If you want to get healthier, start by walking after dinner instead of overhauling your entire diet and workout routine overnight. By keeping your actions small but steady, you avoid the burnout that comes from trying to change everything at once. The beauty of small steps is that they compound. This is the same principle that makes compound interest so powerful in finance. The gains build on each other. A single dollar saved isn't much, but save it every day, and it grows into something significant. The same is true for skills, habits, and even character. Each small choice is like a brick. Alone, it doesn't seem like much, but over time, brick by brick, you build a fortress. The Stoics would call this living in agreement with nature, working with the natural way growth happens instead of fighting against it by demanding instant results. Jung also spoke to the deeper psychological value of small steps. He believed that transformation happens in the interplay between conscious effort and unconscious integration. When you make small, deliberate changes, you give your mind time to absorb them, to make them part of your identity. Big, sudden changes often fail because they overwhelm the psyche. They don't give your deeper self a chance to catch up. Small steps are less glamorous, but they stick because they respect the natural rhythm of human growth. One of the simplest ways to put this into practice is to ask yourself each morning, what is one small thing I can do today that moves me forward? Not 10 things, not a whole day's worth of effort planned to perfection, just one thing. Write it down, do it, and tomorrow ask again. The Stoics believed that life is lived one present moment at a time, so they focused their energy on what they could do now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, confine yourself to the present. If the present is all you can control, then the smallest meaningful action you can take in it is already a victory. Of course, the danger of small steps is that they're easy to dismiss. Skipping one workout doesn't feel like much. Eating one unhealthy meal doesn't seem like a problem. Not writing a page today feels harmless. But over time, these small omissions compound just like small actions do, and they take you in the opposite direction. The Stoics would urge you to treat every small choice as significant because it's part of the person you are becoming. Every action is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. Another Stoic practice that supports small steps is the idea of self-auditing. At the end of the day, they would reflect on what they did, what they avoided, and where they could improve tomorrow. This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. By reviewing your day, you see where your small steps moved you forward and where they slipped backward. Over time, this awareness sharpens your decision-making, and your small steps become more intentional and effective. The more you practice this, the more you realize that small steps are not just about achievement, they're about identity. You start to see yourself as the kind of person who shows up, even in small ways. That identity becomes self-reinforcing. The longer you keep it, the harder it is to break. This is why the Stoics valued consistency over intensity. A single day of greatness doesn't mean much if it's followed by weeks of nothing, but a steady stream of small wins builds a track record you can rely on, especially when motivation fades. And motivation will fade. That's why small steps are so crucial. They're sustainable. You can't always muster the energy for giant leaps, but you can almost always take one small step. Some days your step will be bigger. Other days it might be tiny. The size matters less than the fact that you keep moving. This steady motion is what keeps you from slipping into the stagnation that kills most dreams before they have a chance to live. In the end, the Stoics weren't just teaching a method for achieving goals. They were teaching a way of living, a way that respects the limits of human willpower and the reality of life's unpredictability. You can't control when the mountain will be fully climbed, but you can control whether you take the next step today. And in their eyes, that's all that matters. So, when you feel overwhelmed by the size of what you want to accomplish, remember this: the only thing you have to do right now is the next small thing. Write the page, make the call, save the dollar, take the walk. These are the bricks that build the life you want. They may not look like much in the moment, but years from now, you'll look back and realize they were everything. 7. Redefine success. There's a strange emptiness that comes when you finally get the thing you thought would make you happy, only to realize it doesn't feel the way you imagined. Maybe it's a promotion that came with more stress than satisfaction. Maybe it's a new car that was exciting for a week and then became just another object in your driveway. Or maybe it's social recognition, a burst of likes, praise and attention that fades so quickly you're left craving the next hit. We live in a world that tells us, day after day, that success is about having more, showing more, and proving more. But the Stoics would smile at this idea, not out of arrogance, but out of understanding. They knew that chasing success defined by the crowd's standards is like running on a treadmill. You can sweat, push, and work yourself to exhaustion, but you're still in the same place. The Stoics believed success was an inner game, not an outer show. Marcus Aurelius, who could have indulged in every luxury as emperor of Rome, wrote in Meditations, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This wasn't the opinion of a man who had nothing. It was the wisdom of a man who had everything and still knew it wasn't the source of his peace. To him, true success wasn't measured by titles or possessions, but by living in harmony with his values. Could he face himself in the mirror each night, knowing he acted with justice, courage, and wisdom? That was his scoreboard. The problem is, most people spend their lives trying to become who they think others want them to be. We adapt to trends, twist ourselves to fit in, and measure our worth by how we compare to the highlight reels around us. The Stoics would tell you that this is a sure path to restlessness because the goalposts will always move. If your sense of achievement depends on external validation, you'll never own it. It will always belong to someone else's opinion. Seneca, in one of his letters, reminded his friend Lucilius that a man is not called happy because he has a large fortune, but because he has a virtuous soul. Virtue, living in accordance with reason, integrity, and moral excellence, was the Stoics' true measure of success. That meant being honest even when lying would be easier. It meant treating people with fairness, even when you stood to gain by doing otherwise. It meant mastering your impulses because you valued self-control over momentary pleasure. This kind of success doesn't always earn applause. In fact, it often goes unnoticed. But it's the kind that lets you sleep deeply, knowing you didn't betray yourself. If you redefine success in Stoic terms, the first shift is from outcome to process. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" you ask, "Who can I become?" And you focus on becoming that person through daily actions, not just big achievements. You stop measuring yourself against other people's results and start measuring yourself against your own potential. Did you make progress in living with courage today? Did you handle frustration with more patience than you did last year? Did you stand by your principles when it would have been easier to compromise? By this definition, a quiet act of integrity can outweigh a public act of ambition. One of the great misunderstandings about Stoicism is that it's against ambition. It's not. The Stoics weren't against building wealth, achieving influence, or creating great works. They were against being owned by those things. Epictetus warned, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If you can want less, you can enjoy more." This is the freedom the Stoics pursued, a life where you control your desires, rather than letting your desires control you. This kind of thinking is revolutionary in a world where people are told to constantly chase more. And it's not just about rejecting materialism, it's about rejecting a definition of success that leaves you feeling empty, anxious, or inauthentic. Jung once observed, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you." Redefining success begins with answering that question yourself, deciding what matters to you deeply and personally, so that your life is built on your own foundation, not someone else's blueprint. When you adopt this perspective, something amazing happens. You start to notice success in places you never saw it before. A parent patiently teaching their child how to navigate frustration. An employee who takes responsibility for a mistake instead of hiding it. A person choosing to walk away from a profitable deal because it would harm others. These are not the kinds of successes that make magazine covers, but they are the ones that build unshakable character. And character, the Stoics would argue, is the one form of success you carry with you everywhere, unaffected by fortune or loss. The second shift in redefining success is from speed to depth. Modern culture rewards the fastest wins, the overnight sensation, the viral moment, the instant transformation. But Stoic success values endurance over flash. Marcus Aurelius noted, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's the kind of slow, deliberate thinking that builds a legacy rather than a headline. It's about playing the long game, investing in relationships, in your craft, in your inner growth, knowing that the rewards worth having are often the slowest to arrive. To live by this redefinition, you have to be willing to disappoint people. When you stop chasing the symbols of success that society celebrates, some people will see you as less driven, less impressive, even less valuable. That's fine. The Stoics didn't live for the approval of the crowd. They lived for the approval of their own conscience. Practically, this means setting your own standards for a successful day. For one person, success today might mean having a difficult conversation with honesty. For another, it might mean showing restraint in the face of anger. For someone else, it could be choosing to keep a promise even when circumstances make it inconvenient. These moments might never be recognized publicly, but they are the building blocks of a meaningful life. And meaning is the Stoics' ultimate form of success. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy material achievements, only that you see them for what they are: tools, not trophies. A tool can be used to create something of value. A trophy just sits there to be admired. The Stoics would encourage you to use your resources, whether money, status, or skills, to live in greater alignment with your values and to serve something bigger than yourself. That's success you can feel proud of, not just show off. Carl Jung believed that the most damaging thing to the individual is the unlived life, the dreams and values we ignore because we're too busy living by someone else's definition of success. Redefining success is about reclaiming that life. It's about making choices that align with your authentic self, even when they don't look glamorous from the outside. Because the truth is, the world is full of people who look successful but feel hollow inside. The Stoics teach us that it's better to be quietly fulfilled than loudly empty. In the end, the question is simple but powerful. If no one could see your life, no audience, no applause, would you still be proud of it? Would you still call it successful? If the answer is yes, then you've already achieved something rare and precious. The Stoics would call that living well, and they'd tell you it's the only kind of success worth pursuing. 8. Reject the need for approval. There's a quiet kind of slavery most people never realize they're living in. It doesn't involve chains or cages. It lives in the mind. It's the constant calculation of how you're being seen. It's editing your words so you won't upset anyone. It's wearing the right mask for the right audience. It's feeling that if people disapprove of you, then maybe you're not enough. We don't often call it what it is, but the truth is that dependence on approval is one of the most powerful traps a person can fall into. And the worst part, you can live decades in it without noticing because the world rewards it. When you seek validation, people will feed it to you just enough to keep you hungry for more. The Stoics knew this hunger well. They saw how easily people traded their peace for the applause of the crowd. Marcus Aurelius, a man surrounded by advisors, citizens, and soldiers, all eager to sway him, wrote in Meditations, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This wasn't just a philosophical musing, it was a warning. When you live for approval, you abandon your own compass and let others steer you, often toward places you never wanted to go. Seeking approval is exactly how the world tells you who to be. You adjust yourself to fit expectations, sometimes without even realizing it, until one day you look in the mirror and see a stranger. The price of constant validation is the erosion of authenticity. You stop living as yourself and start living as a collection of other people's preferences. The irony is that the more you chase approval, the less secure you feel. It's like trying to quench thirst with salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. That's because approval is never permanent. You might have it today, but the moment you slip, change, or disagree, it can vanish. And then you're left scrambling to win it back, often by compromising your values. Rejecting the need for approval doesn't mean rejecting people. The Stoics weren't hermits who shunned all social bonds. They valued community and cooperation. What they rejected was dependence, the belief that your worth is defined by others' opinions. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, stop trying to control how people see you. The moment you make peace with being misunderstood, you free yourself to live in alignment with your own values. This is easier said than done, of course. Humans are wired for connection, and part of connection is caring about what others think. The Stoic approach isn't to stop caring entirely, it's to care in proportion. They would tell you to weigh an opinion by its source. Does it come from someone who shares your values, from someone wise and trustworthy, or is it just noise from the crowd? Marcus Aurelius advised himself to receive without pride, let go without attachment. Enjoy genuine praise when it comes, but don't clutch it like a lifeline. And when criticism arrives, listen for what's useful and discard the rest. Jung might say that approval becomes dangerous when it feeds your persona, the mask you wear for the world, at the expense of your deeper self. The persona is necessary for functioning in society, but when you over-identify with it, you forget the real person behind it. You start performing instead of living. This is why rejecting the need for approval feels so liberating. It's the moment you put down the mask and let yourself breathe. One practical way to loosen approval's grip is to get clear on your own values. The Stoics placed values, virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, above everything else. If you know what you stand for, you can measure your choices against that standard instead of against public opinion. You might still listen to feedback, but it won't override your principles. This creates a kind of internal stability. Approval may come and go, but your self-respect stays intact. Another way is to deliberately expose yourself to disapproval in small doses. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to strengthen their resilience, wearing simple clothes, eating plain food, sleeping on hard surfaces. You can apply the same idea socially. Share an honest opinion in a safe space, even if you suspect it won't be popular. Say no to something you don't want to do, even if someone is disappointed. Over time, you'll learn that disapproval isn't fatal, it's just uncomfortable, and you can handle it. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." Surrounding yourself with people who value integrity over flattery will help you break free from the need for constant validation. When your circle encourages your authenticity, you feel less pressure to perform and more freedom to be yourself. And when you inevitably face criticism from outside that circle, it's easier to see it for what it is. Just another opinion, not a verdict on your worth. The Stoics would also remind you that even the greatest people in history had critics. Socrates was condemned by his city. Cato the Younger was despised by those who feared his incorruptibility. Marcus Aurelius faced political rivals who questioned his every move. If these men, guided by virtue, couldn't please everyone, why should you expect to? The goal isn't universal approval, it's universal self-respect. Jung's work also reveals another danger of living for approval. It keeps you from individuation, the process of becoming your whole, unique self. If you shape yourself entirely around what others want, you never integrate the parts of you that don't fit their mold. And those ignored parts don't disappear, they linger, creating tension and dissatisfaction. The only cure is to stop outsourcing your identity. In rejecting the need for approval, you may lose some people. Those who were drawn to you for the performance, not the person, may drift away. This can be painful, but it's also clarifying. What remains are relationships built on respect for who you really are. And those relationships are worth more than 1,000 empty compliments. Living this way also changes how you view your own achievements. Instead of asking, "Will people be impressed?" you ask, "Does this align with my principles?" The shift is subtle but powerful. You stop chasing applause and start chasing meaning. And meaning, unlike approval, is something you can create and keep, no matter who's watching. The real freedom comes when you realize that most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. They're too busy thinking about themselves. That alone should be a relief. You can stop curating every moment for an imaginary audience and start living for the only judge who will be with you every second of your life, yourself. So, reject the need for approval. Not because you don't care about people, but because you care too much about living a life that's honest, grounded, and truly yours. Praise will come and go, criticism will come and go, but the peace of knowing you lived by your own values, that stays. And as the Stoics knew, that is the only kind of approval that truly matters. 9. Master the art of saying no. There's a quiet danger in life that doesn't announce itself with alarms or flashing lights. It creeps in disguised as opportunity, politeness, and just one small favor. It's the danger of saying yes too often. At first, it feels harmless, even kind. You agree to help a coworker with their project. You attend a social event you don't really care about. You accept a commitment because you don't want to disappoint anyone. And in the moment, it seems like nothing. But over time, every unnecessary yes takes a piece of your time, energy, and focus, pieces you can't get back. Eventually, you wake up to find your days filled with things that don't matter to you, while the things that do matter keep getting pushed to later. The Stoics would tell you that later is a dangerous illusion. All we really have is now, and now is too valuable to give away carelessly. It's not meant to be morbid, it's meant to be clarifying. If your time is finite, then every yes should be treated like a rare coin. The Stoics believed that our most precious possession is our attention, and where we spend it determines the shape of our lives. Saying yes to something meaningless is more than harmless politeness. It's an act of self-neglect, because it's also saying no to something that could have enriched your life, deepened your relationships, or moved you closer to your purpose. Saying no is part of that doing. It's the enforcement of the life you claim to value. If you want more time for your health, you must say no to commitments that keep you from rest or exercise. If you want to grow in your craft, you must say no to distractions disguised as urgent obligations. Every no is a boundary that protects what matters most. But there's an art to it, because saying no isn't about building walls out of spite. It's about building gates with intention. The Stoics valued kindness and community, so they wouldn't encourage you to reject every request without thought. The key is discernment. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Does it move me toward my goals? Will saying yes here mean saying no to something more important? Marcus Aurelius would urge you to weigh each choice against the shortness of life. When you see your hours as precious, you naturally become more selective about where you spend them. One of the biggest hurdles to mastering this art is fear. The fear of disappointing others, missing out, or being judged as selfish. But here's the paradox. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you plant a seed of quiet resentment toward the very people you're trying to please. Over time, that resentment erodes relationships more than an honest no ever could. Seneca observed, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." If you're constantly scattered across other people's priorities, you'll be absent from your own life. Saying no, kindly but firmly, is an act of respect, not just for yourself, but for the person asking. It tells them you take both your time and theirs seriously. Jung's perspective reminds us that a well-placed no is also a statement of identity. Every no says, "This is who I am and this is what I will protect." It's a declaration of self-awareness. Without it, you become whatever the situation requires, flexible to the point of losing all shape. The Stoics knew that living without shape is living without purpose. A ship without a destination will drift, no matter how favorable the winds. The skill of saying no also depends on how you frame it. The Stoics prized clear, direct communication. A good no doesn't require elaborate excuses or self-justification. It simply states the truth with respect. "I appreciate the offer, but I can't commit to that right now. That's not something I can take on at the moment. Thank you for thinking of me, but I have to focus on my priorities." Each of these honors the request while maintaining your boundary. There's also a deeper discipline here, learning to say no not only to others, but to yourself. The Stoics believed that self-mastery was the foundation of freedom. This means saying no to the impulses that pull you away from your values, no to the easy escape instead of the hard work, no to the comfort of procrastination instead of the discomfort of progress. Practicing this art will change the way you experience time. Suddenly, your days will feel less frantic, not because the world has slowed down, but because you've stopped filling your hours with noise. You'll notice a new clarity in your decisions and a deeper sense of ownership over your life. The moments you protect with your no will become the fertile ground where your most important work, relationships, and personal growth can flourish. The Stoics would tell you that saying no is not the same as rejecting life. It's choosing life on purpose. By guarding your time like a dragon guards its treasure, you ensure that when you do say yes, it's to something worthy of your attention and energy. And those yeses will carry far more weight because they're chosen, not defaulted. So, the next time a request comes your way, pause. Ask yourself if it serves your values, if it aligns with the person you're trying to become. And if it doesn't, say no. Not with guilt, but with gratitude for the chance to protect what matters most. Because in the end, every no you give to the meaningless is a yes to the meaningful. And that, the Stoics would say, is the highest form of self-respect. 10th, let go with indifference. There's a kind of heaviness that creeps in when you spend too much time thinking about things you can't change. You've probably felt it, scrolling through news headlines that leave you tense and frustrated, replaying a conversation in your head because of what someone said, or worrying about whether a situation will turn out the way you want. It's like carrying a backpack full of bricks that aren't even yours to carry. The more you think about them, the heavier they get, and the slower you move through life. The Stoics understood this burden well, and they had a simple, almost radical solution. Put the backpack down. Not by ignoring reality, but by recognizing that not every part of it belongs to you. You might not control the storm, but you decide whether to build a shelter, dance in the rain, or curse the clouds. That decision belongs to you, and it's in that space of choice where your freedom lives. The Stoics called this practice apatheia, which is often misunderstood as apathy. It's not about not caring, it's about caring wisely. It's the discipline of protecting your peace by refusing to give your emotional energy to things that don't deserve it. Epictetus taught that there are two domains, what is up to us and what is not. The moment you pour your focus into what is not, you're handing over your inner stability to forces that couldn't care less about your well-being. It's like investing all your money into a market you can't influence. It's a guaranteed loss. Think of your mental energy like currency. You have a limited amount to spend each day. Where are you putting it? Are you buying peace, progress, and clarity, or are you wasting it on arguments you'll never win, fears that may never happen, and resentment toward people who may never change? The Stoics would say the choice is yours, but the cost is always real. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily not to waste the rest of your time here worrying about other people, unless it affects the common good. This wasn't coldness, it was efficiency. The Emperor of Rome understood that if he let every outside force pull at him, he'd have nothing left for the work that truly mattered. Letting go with indifference isn't about detachment from life, it's about engagement with what's essential. It's about being selective with your attention. You don't need to respond to every comment, attend every conflict, or weigh in on every controversy. Sometimes the wisest move is no move at all. In the modern world, where constant connectivity invites constant reaction, this restraint feels almost rebellious. But it's the rebellion that preserves your mind. Jung might frame it as an act of individuation, the process of becoming whole by aligning your outer actions with your inner truth. If your values say kindness matters, then it doesn't matter if someone tries to provoke you into anger. You respond from kindness. If your values say honesty matters, then gossip becomes irrelevant to your path. By holding to what's yours, You naturally let go of what isn't. One of the challenges here is that our culture often glorifies outrage. We're encouraged to have an opinion on everything, to react instantly, to take sides. The Stoics would see this as a trap. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of what we stress over never actually harms us. It's the imagined harm, replayed and magnified in our minds, that does the damage. By learning to pause before you react, you create space to ask, is this mine to carry? If it isn't, set it down. This doesn't mean you ignore injustice or refuse to act when something matters deeply to you. The Stoics weren't passive. They believed in taking strong, ethical action where they could make a difference. The difference is that they didn't tie their peace of mind to the outcome. They did their part, and they released the rest. That's the heart of letting go with indifference, doing your duty without chaining your happiness to results you can't control. You can practice this in small ways every day. When the weather ruins your plans, instead of cursing the rain, use the time differently. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of stewing over it for hours, remind yourself you'll never see them again. When a co-worker's mood is sour, refuse to let it infect your own. Each of these is a rep in the mental gym, building the muscle that allows you to stay steady no matter what the world throws at you. When you master this, you stop being yanked around by external chaos. You become anchored in something deeper, your principles, your purpose, your own calm center. There's also an element of humility in this practice. Letting go means accepting that you are not the master of everything. For many, this is hard to swallow, but the Stoics saw it as liberation. When you stop trying to bend reality to your will in every detail, you find peace in flowing with it. You become less like a rigid wall and more like water, able to move around obstacles instead of exhausting yourself trying to knock them down. Carl Jung might say that this surrender is a form of psychological maturity. It's the point where you stop needing to control every variable in order to feel safe. You realize that safety isn't in control, it's in adaptability. The world will change, people will change, circumstances will change. If your peace depends on freezing them into place, you'll always be at risk. But if your peace depends only on your own choices, no one can take it from you. The greatest freedom the Stoics found was in this. When you stop obsessing over what you can't control, you gain the capacity to master what you can. Your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become sharper. You have the energy to work on yourself, your craft, your relationships, the things that respond to your effort. And as you grow in these areas, you start to notice something. The things you let go of were never worth the weight you gave them. So the next time you feel the pull to engage with something that isn't yours to fix, pause. Ask yourself, will giving my energy to this make my life better, or will it just leave me drained? If it's the latter, let it go. Not with bitterness, not with avoidance, but with calm indifference. Because your mental energy is the currency of your life, and the Stoics would remind you, spend it only where it counts. 11. Give it all you've got. There's a certain emptiness that comes from holding back. You know the feeling. You're in a project, a relationship, or a personal goal, but you're playing it safe. You're showing up, but only with half your energy, half your focus, half your heart. You tell yourself it's smart to keep a little in reserve, that it's better not to risk too much. But deep down, there's a quiet voice that wonders what would happen if you actually went all in. The Stoics had no patience for half measures. To them, a life worth living was a life lived with intention, and intention meant committing fully to what you've chosen. If it's worth doing at all, it's worth doing with every ounce of effort you can give. Marcus Aurelius, who bore the weight of an empire and still kept a private journal of self-examination, reminded himself daily, concentrate every minute like a Roman, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. This wasn't about being tense or grim. It was about respecting the task enough to give it your full attention. Whether it was leading armies, settling disputes, or writing philosophy, he knew that the quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your attention, and divided attention is the enemy of depth. Carl Jung echoed a similar truth in his own way. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. The key here is meaning. When you choose something, whether it's a craft, a cause, or a connection, you owe it more than just your presence. You owe it your engagement, your curiosity, your willingness to see it through even when it's hard. Anything less leaves you with the gnawing feeling that you didn't really test your limits. The Stoics would say that giving it all you've got is not about perfection, it's about sincerity. Epictetus often told his students to apply themselves wholly to what is necessary. That means that when you decide something is worth your time, you act as if it's the only thing that matters in that moment. You bring the best of your mind and heart to it, because you understand that your effort is a reflection of your character. To drift through life giving partial effort is, in their eyes, to drift through life with a partial self. One of the reasons people hold back is fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of investing everything and still coming up short. But the Stoics flipped that thinking on its head. They believed that the real failure is in not showing up fully, because then you never truly find out what you're capable of. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Going all in isn't a guarantee of success. It's a guarantee that you'll grow, no matter the outcome. There's also a tendency in our culture to spread ourselves thin. We say yes to too many things, and as a result, we can't give our full focus to any of them. The Stoics would tell you to choose carefully, then commit completely. Your time and energy are finite resources. If you dilute them across too many pursuits, nothing thrives. But if you direct them toward fewer, deeply chosen goals, you create the conditions for mastery. This is why Marcus Aurelius warned himself against being busy with many things, and instead urged himself to act as one who is dying, yet as one whose work is not yet complete. Jung might describe this as the difference between a fragmented self and an integrated self. When your energy is scattered, you live in pieces, each part of you chasing a different aim, none of them strong enough to make real impact. But when you integrate, when your values, focus and actions are all aligned toward a chosen goal, you become far more powerful, not just in achievement, but in presence. People can feel when you're truly committed to something. It changes the way you carry yourself and the way opportunities seem to respond to you. There's a humility in going all in as well. To commit fully means accepting that you will be tested, that you will make mistakes, that you may fail in ways that sting. But the Stoics didn't see failure as an ending. They saw it as part of the process of virtue. The more you give of yourself, the more you learn about your limits, and the more you expand them. Each setback becomes a teacher, shaping your resilience and sharpening your skills. This is why Epictetus advised his students to welcome challenges. They are proof that you're truly engaged in the work, not just coasting through it. Think about the relationships in your life. Half-hearted effort here is just as damaging as it is in your personal goals. When you show up distracted, preoccupied, or reluctant, people feel it. Connection thrives on presence. If you value a relationship, romantic, family, or friendship, the Stoic way is to give it the time, attention, and honesty it deserves. This doesn't mean overextending yourself or ignoring boundaries, but it does mean that when you are with someone, you are with them. In our age of constant distraction, that kind of presence is rare and deeply felt. The same principle applies to learning a skill or pursuing a craft. Dabbling has its place. It can be fun and exploratory, but mastery requires commitment. If you've ever watched someone who has devoted themselves to a craft for decades, you know the depth that's possible when you give something your sustained focus. The Stoics believed that our capacity for excellence is a moral responsibility. To waste it on distraction or half-effort is to waste the potential we've been given. Jung would add that going all in has a transformative effect on the self. When you fully commit to something meaningful, it draws out parts of you that would otherwise remain dormant. You discover patience you didn't think you had, creativity you didn't know was there, and strength you wouldn't have developed without the pressure of sustained effort. In this way, the act of giving your all isn't just about the thing you're doing. It's about becoming more fully yourself through the doing. Of course, giving it all you've got doesn't mean driving yourself into exhaustion or sacrificing your well-being. The Stoics valued balance and reason. Going all in is about depth, not recklessness. It's about knowing when to rest so you can return with strength, about setting boundaries that allow your effort to be sustainable. Marcus Aurelius himself often reminded himself to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. Not because the rock never moves, but because it remains steadfast without wearing itself out in constant reaction. To live this way requires constant self-examination. The Stoics were relentless in asking themselves, am I truly committed to this, or am I holding back? Am I acting from my values, or am I just going through the motions? This kind of honest questioning keeps you from slipping into mediocrity without realizing it. When you see yourself drifting, you can course correct, either by recommitting or by stepping away from something that no longer aligns with who you want to be. In the end, giving it all you've got is a choice you make moment by moment. It's deciding that if you're going to do something, you'll do it in a way that reflects the best of who you are. It's choosing depth over breadth, presence over distraction, and courage over comfort. The Stoics would remind you that life is short and uncertain, and that your time is too precious to spend on half-effort living. As Seneca put it, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. So when you choose a goal, a relationship, or a skill, choose it fully. Show up with your whole self. Let your effort be so complete that, whatever the outcome, you can walk away knowing you didn't hold back. That knowledge is its own reward, and it's one the Stoics would say is worth more than any trophy, title, or applause. Because at the end of the day, the measure of your life isn't in what you had. It's in how deeply you engaged with what you chose to do. 12th, ask why not. Most of the opportunities we miss in life don't vanish because they weren't possible. They vanish because we never tried. Not because we lacked the ability, but because we told ourselves stories about why we couldn't, shouldn't, or weren't ready. You've probably had moments where an idea lit you up, a project you wanted to start, a trip you wanted to take, a conversation you wanted to have, and yet you hesitated. You let the thought pass. Maybe you told yourself the timing wasn't right, that you needed more preparation, or that someone else would do it better. But what if, instead of building a wall of reasons why not, you asked yourself the question that flips fear on its head? Why not? If life is uncertain and tomorrow isn't promised, then waiting endlessly for the perfect moment is the most dangerous plan of all. The why not mindset is about meeting life with openness instead of hesitation, about seeing possibilities instead of obstacles. Carl Jung touched on this same idea from a psychological perspective. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Often our hesitation isn't about the external situation, It's about the internal limits we've accepted without question. Asking, why not, forces us to confront those limits. Is the obstacle real, or is it a projection of my own fear? Is the risk truly unbearable, or have I magnified it in my mind to protect myself from discomfort? The Stoics would remind us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Every bold step feels heavy until you take it. Then, more often than not, you realize the weight was in your mind, not in the world. Why not becomes the lever that moves you from thought into action. But asking why not isn't about throwing yourself into every whim. The Stoics valued reason as much as courage. Epictetus taught that our actions should align with our principles and nature. So the question becomes, why not take this step if it serves my values, my growth, or the greater good? If the answer is simply fear of embarrassment, failure, or judgment, then that's exactly when why not should push you forward. If the answer is that it violates your ethics or compromises what matters most, then the why not becomes a quiet confirmation to stay your course. One of the subtle powers of why not is that it bypasses the perfectionism trap. Too many people wait to start until they feel ready, until they've learned more, saved more, planned more. But readiness is often an illusion. The Stoics would say that the path becomes clearer only when you start walking it. Carl Jung would likely argue that why not is also an invitation to meet your shadow, the parts of yourself you avoid because they're uncomfortable. Taking that leap might mean confronting your fear of rejection, your discomfort with uncertainty, or your belief that you're not worthy of success. By saying why not, you agree to step into a situation that will stretch you, challenge you, and ultimately reveal more of who you are. The truth is, every meaningful change in history started with someone asking, why not? Why not sail beyond the map? Why not stand up against injustice? Why not create something no one's seen before? These questions weren't born from guarantees. They were born from possibility. And while your own why not moments may not change the world on a global scale, they can change your world entirely. Of course, asking why not comes with the possibility of failure. The Stoics wouldn't sugarcoat that. You may start the business and see it collapse. You may ask for the raise and get turned down. You may take the trip and run into setbacks, but their wisdom was clear. The value isn't only in the outcome, it's in the act of daring. Seneca once wrote, "It is better to conquer our grief than to deceive it." In the same way, it's better to face the truth of a failure than to live with the quiet grief of never trying. Practicing why not doesn't mean leaping into chaos. It means deliberately training your mind to question fear's authority over you. You can start small. Why not speak up in the meeting instead of staying silent? Why not reach out to the person you've been meaning to call? Why not learn the skill you've told yourself you're not creative enough for? These small acts build the muscle of courage, and the more you use it, the easier it becomes to face bigger leaps. The Stoics also believed that fortune favors the prepared mind. Why not doesn't mean ignoring preparation. It means not waiting for every variable to be perfect before beginning. If you've done what you reasonably can to ready yourself, then the rest is life's domain, not yours. Take the step and let the outcome be what it will. Jung might say that why not is also a bridge between the life you're living and the life you could be living. Each time you ask it, you create a crack in the wall of your routine, a place where light can enter. And over time, those cracks widen into doorways. You start to see that the limits you thought were permanent are in fact movable. There's another side to why not that the Stoics would appreciate. It keeps life vibrant. Routine can be a stabilizing force, but it can also dull you if you never challenge its boundaries. Why not injects curiosity back into your days. Why not take a different route home? Why not try a hobby that seems out of character? Why not spend a day without your phone? These experiments may seem trivial, but they keep your mind flexible, your perspective fresh, and your spirit alive to possibility. And here's the final truth the Stoics would remind you of. The cost of never asking, why not, is far greater than the cost of trying and failing. You can recover from a setback. You can rebuild after a loss, but you can't recover the years you spend on the sidelines, watching your life from a safe distance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The why not mindset is an antidote to that fear. It puts you back in the game, so the next time you feel the tug of an idea, a desire, or a chance that scares you just enough to make you hesitate, stop and ask yourself, why not? And then answer honestly. If the only thing standing in your way is fear of discomfort or failure, that's your signal. Take the step, send the message, book the ticket, start the thing. Because every great leap in your life will start with that simple challenge to yourself and the courage to answer it. In the end, life isn't measured by how long we live, but by how deeply we choose to live. Every moment is a chance to embody these Stoic truths, not in theory, but in the way we think, act, and show up for ourselves and others. Thank you for walking this path with me, for being a part of Stoic Journal, and for seeking more than just comfort. You're seeking strength, clarity, and purpose. If you're ready to keep growing, keep questioning, and keep becoming, watch one of the suggested videos on your screen now. Your next step is waiting.